Hi, welcome to the video. My name is Dychronic, and today I want to talk about the Zuri's location of random rolls and my recommendation for April 8th, 2022. You can find him in his regular location on the EDZ. Just make your way on top of this big old mountain cliffside right here, and you can find him right next to the precipice. I don't know why precipice is still funny to me. This is a high overview in case this is all you cared about. Let me tell you, Zur does not apparently skip arm day today. First up for the weapon today, we have the Crimson, a weapon that's actually pretty damn good. It's a weapon that's used pretty commonly in the Crucible, although I didn't have it in my top 10 for PvE or PvP primaries. It's definitely in the top 15, probably at like number 11 or 12. If you've never heard of it, it's essentially a hand cannon, but it's a 3-round burst, so it's more like between a sidearm 3-round burst and a pulse rifle 3-round burst. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. On top of that, you also heal from getting kills, and you also get ammo when you get precision kills. It's a weapon that's got a lot of utility. And when you get the Catalyst, you max out the range, which is always a good thing to have. After that, for the Hunter exotic, I always forget which one, the Hunter exotic, we have the AEON Swift. And if you've ever heard of the AEONs, they're all exactly the same. They have one of 3 possible perks, my favorite being this one, Sect of Insight, where you can spawn special ammo and heavy ammo off of champions. And of course, a lot of other bonuses, depending on how many of your allies also have AEON, but for the most part, the community has agreed that Sect of Insight's the best. Only one on your team is really necessary, although you should also keep in mind that currently in the Artifact, we have something called Lucient Finisher. This one, which allows you to spawn in heavy ammo off of Hive Lightbearers, and that also apparently counts as champions, or at least I was told. Hold on a second. The total on this exotic is 61. Did they finally change? I think that they did. They finally changed it back. Either it was a glitch that was long standing, or it was something that the community obviously really wanted. So as far as this exotic goes, it's kind of up to you. I think intellect recovery is an excellent thing for this. Hunters usually want a bit mobility, and a total 61 is slightly below average, but definitely above average in my heart. Finally! Up next today, we have the Titan exotic known as URSA FURIOSA. Probably one of the better exotics in the game. It used to be at number 1 for quite some time until they nerfed all of the super generating exotics to be capped at 50%. That being said, it's still very, very useful. You move faster while guarding with Sentinel Shield, and guarded damage also converts to super energy when the super ends up to 50%. And this is useful because you guard a bunch of damage with your super, create a ton of orbs because your teammates are behind you and it'll last forever, and then you also give them super, then they use their supers to give you orbs, and then you get your orbs and almost have your super. Essentially, if you want to play the highest level PvE content and Grandmasters and stuff like this, you probably need one of these for your Titan. As far as your roll goes, on this particular exotic, you'd like to see more intellect and just in general a lot more recovery. Total of 63 is average, or at least the average that you're looking for. Not a great roll, to be honest with you, but again, it depends on your stats, whether you want it. After that, for the Warlock exotic, we have the SUNBRACERS. This exotic is not necessarily going to be a top 10 performance exotic, but it's definitely a very fun one. If you like the solar subclass, if you like the Icarus Dash, and you're in PvE, and even in PvP, the ability to just throw 5 solar grenades in a row just by getting a charged melee kill is something that appeals to a lot of people. That being said, you really cannot depend on getting a charged melee kill, and all of those grenades are a bit short-lived. When it comes to the roll, obviously you'd like to see a lot of strength, a lot of discipline, and just in general, a lot more recovery. And on Warlocks with Icarus Dash, you want to see low mobility, so that is something that it does have. And of course, very low 58, not really what you're looking for, but again, it's more of a fun exotic, so if you like some fun, you may want it. Following that, let's take a look at the legendary weapons. First up, the Dire Promise, which has Snapshot Osmosis. I believe they did buff the stats of this weapon. They don't do that very often, but they did do that this season. Not a terrible combo, but really not a great combo. After that, we have the Imperial Needle, which is an opening shot killing wind. I believe that this can have Archer's Tempo, and I do like that better. Not a terrible roll for this particular bow, and if you don't have a good bow for the energy slot, lightweight frames are my personal favorite. After that, we have the Wolf Tone Draw, which is a sneak harmony, not really what I'm looking for. Widow's Bite, 140, Pulse Monitor, and Demolitionist, again, not at all what you're looking for. You really want to put that into either the PvP or PvE territory. After that, Ignition Code, Field Prep Demolitionist, actually a pretty good roll. Obviously, people would like to see Spike Grenades or Blinding Grenades in here. Maybe they'd like to see Vorpal or Slide Shot in here because it has some better stuff, but not a bad roll, definitely good for PvE. After that, 7 Seraph Saw has Grave Robber Mulligan. Mulligan is one of my favorite things to have on heavy machine guns, but Grave Robber and the rest of it is not really what I'm looking for. And of course, we have the Frozen Orbit, which is Outlaw Vorpal, and I do believe that this can spawn in with Snapshot. It's a popular option in PvP for the Snapshot roll. After that, we do have some rolls that are diverging. Okay, so for the Titan Armors, we have a 61 roll, low mobility and discipline. Not a bad distribution. A 63 roll, high recovery, high discipline. This is a very good roll. I would honestly recommend this distribution, and of course 63 is around the average you're looking for. We have a 58 roll, recovery, intellect, not bad choices, but not a good total. And then 65, high resilience, high intellect, highest total average of any of these. And of course, if it works for your build, it may be a good option, but not my personal favorite distribution. After that, let's take a look at the Hawkmoon and DMT. Hawkmoon with Quick Draw. Quick Draw is a decent perk to have, although again, I do prefer having Rangefinder, Opening Shot, or even Surplus in here. Chamber Compensator does bring up the recoil direction up to 100, which is a good option, although I do prefer Extended Barrel, which does about the same. And I personally like the Polymer Grip the best, so not the best version of Hawkmoon. I would personally recommend different versions. After that, we have the Dead Man's Tail, which has Killing Wind, which is a good thing to have on it. The Fitted Stock is decent, and then Hammer Forge Rifling is actually pretty good as well. This may be one of the preferred PvP options, although I'm not a massive PvP expert. This does seem like a good roll. And of course, if you don't know, the exotic engram here and any exotic engram you'll ever receive guarantees you an exotic you've never received, and or it guarantees you something with a high stat roll. So this is a 63 roll, and I'm not really a big fan of it, but you know, it could have been something sick. Basically, when you get to the end game, you're just basically rolling the Zur, any exotic engram. Oh, by the way, I forgot. There's a ton of exotic engrams in the season pass, right? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot of exotics in here. Oh yeah. And of course, if you haven't seen it already, I do live stream right after these videos right here on YouTube. So stick around, be able to see a link to that. Oftentimes doing open lobbies for raids, for nightfalls, doing pinnacle stuff, season stuff, all that whatnot. And of course, a big thank you to my patrons on Patreon. Specifically, a big thank you to Mom Dad, Christian Thompson, Kellyanne, Ostrek, Jacob Berg, Monday, Stu Barkman, Junior Panther, and Keith Reagan for the support on Patreon. Hope you guys did enjoy. My name's Dychronic, and I'll see you guys on the next one.